Hi everyone, welcome back to this video. Today we are going to do a very important thing on multi-air engines, which is basically replacing the multi-air filter. But I'm not just going to do that. I kept telling you in the last video, which was about the cam belt exchange, where we all got that out of the way and replaced the cam belt, the V-belt and the water pump. Now it's time to do the multi-air filter and the oil and some other stuff, including the rocket cover gasket, which is right there. I kept telling you in the last cam belt exchange video that the MiTo has been misfiring. Could be the spark plugs, it could also be the multi-air filter, could be wrong oil. This time I got all that is compatible with the engine, and it could also be the whole multi-air unit, which really would be a pain in the ass because that's 800 to 900 euros. That's quite a lot. So yeah, hopefully it's not that. So this video is about this filter. This tiny little thing is the multi-air filter, sits in here. You're going to see that soon. Of course, we are changing the oil filter. There is a new oil filter cover because I broke mine. We of course have a new rocket cover gasket, including spark plug gaskets. We have new, don't mind the black ones, they're just for the engine cover underneath the car. We have new bolts for the valve cover. We also have new cooling fluid because mine is empty. You saw that in the last video as well. However, if you haven't seen that video, click on the pop-up banner just to, no, it's not there, it's there. Yeah, this side to check that video out if you're interested into cam belt exchange. And yeah, last but not least, of course, the most important part is the oil. Now, a lot of people, have some discussions about what kind of oil you use for the multi-air. It's Fiat is kind of tricky with that. We have a 5W30, although it says 5W40 in the manual of the car and in the internet. But the 5W30 is something you can run in this engine, of course. Last time I used a Castrol 5W40, which was meant to be okay for the car. And after that, it was starting to misfire. And the multi-air unit made problems if it wasn't the spark plugs. We've been to an Alfa shop and they just deleted the error code and said it's 2 cylinders misfiring. Could be the spark plugs, could be the multi-air. Yeah, so, and they recommended this oil. You can either get this oil in 5W30 or 40. It's up to you. It's up to if you want to have a thinner or thicker oil. If you take a look at the microfilter of the multi-air, it's really thin. It's not just a normal paper filter. Let me just quickly show you here. This is the microfilter of a multi-air unit. And there, if you take a look inside, it's really like thin. How do you say that? It's really a microfilter. That's why it's got that name. Take a look into the internet, take a look into forums, go to alfaromeo shops and let them tell you what kind of oil you have to use with the 1.4 Multiair or any multi-air engine, because it's not really that easy as you might expect. It's not. I haven't tested that yet. Maybe that's even worse than the other one. Who knows? We are going to start now with getting the rocket cover off. So I've unplugged all the spark plugs and the plugs that go into the multi-air, which sits here. This is the plugs for the multi-air. Be careful with those. Don't hit them. Don't even touch them, the best, because if you hit them too hard, they're easily going to break. These are easily breakable. And if one of those plugs breaks, your whole multi-air is done. And then you'll of course have to get a new one, which is, like I said, 800 to 1,000 bucks. Depends on where you get it. So the crankshaft ventilation unit is off, which would be here. That is this here. Sits on the engine just like this. Yeah, like that. Just get it off. Here is a bolt, there is a bolt, and there. Next thing you would really want to get off is the bracket. So once you have the ventilation unit off, get this metal bracket off. I have it off here. I'm going to show you again how it sits in there. I got that off because if you replace the cam belt like I did in the last video, you will have to get it out there because you will need to go into where the vacuum pump is. You need to get that off, and that bracket sits right around it. This will take some time getting it out, but you know, once you figured it out, it's easy from here, because what we need to do now is just get all these screws out of here. One is here, don't forget this one. I almost ripped the cover apart because I forgot to open that one. Here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, there and there. So yeah, let's just get those two out of there. So it's a 8. Okay, then there's a screw going in here holding the cover in place. I already got that off, so just push the cover aside where the cam belt sits. And now, once you got all of the screws off, the plugs, you can remove the rocket cover, and you should, of course, get the screws of the spark plugs out of there and pull those plugs out. Now, if you do all that on another car, maybe your screws for the rocket cover are in different length. In case of this engine, all of the screws have the same length, so you don't have to remember which screw went where if you keep the old screws. And even if you get new screws, you will always have to remember which screw went where, of course. In this case, not, because it's all the same length, no problem. And now we've done that, we can pull it off. Now this might stick a bit because there is going to be some of the seal or the old gasket here. You can see some of it here, the black stuff, which is some RTV that we maybe should use when we put it on again. So we can see the gasket here. It's going all the way here around the cover. And if we look into the engine bay, this is the most interesting part. This is the multi-air unit. Like you can see the plugs going into the unit, sitting right here. And what it does is it's pushing with those springs here. It's pushing, it's getting pushed in when the camshaft is pushing the rollers, those little things, onto, you know, the spring. Yeah, that's the multi-air unit, and that thing costs 800 to 900 bucks. So anyways, we're here for replacing the gasket and the filter. So you can see some old RTV here. That's room temperature vulcanizing silicone, I think. And this was used to have an extra sealed cover. So we are going to do the same thing, but first we have to get all of that old stuff out of there. How do we do that? With a plastic, you know, clip remover or something like that. Don't use metal screwdrivers or something. No, don't do that. You will have scratches on the surface, or may have scratches on the surface, which could cause serious leaks that you can't just seal with a normal gasket. So it's not going to be the easiest part to get all that stuff out of there. So what we are doing is put some brake cleaner on them. And remember where you had the seal, because you will want to put some new RCV on the same spots. Okay, now that everything here is like almost completely clean and nice, we are going to go ahead and clean that a little bit more and get the gasket out of there, and also the spark plug tube seals, which are here, of course. With a little bit more pressure, I discovered that you can even clean that more than it looks like that, just by using some brake cleaner and a cloth. So now that we have that clean, like it's not perfectly clean, you can always, do more, but that depends on how dirty your valve cover is, and this is like as clean as I can get it with a piece of cloth. You could always use a toothbrush or any kind of soft brush that you have. Anyway, that's good for me now. We are going to get the tube seals out, spark plug tube seals out of there. All right, let me demonstrate this to you real quick, how I'm getting the spark plug tube seals out of there. So I use some WD-40 or any kind of oil, or any kind of stuff that is like easing things to get out. So this oil is good for easing things that are stuck, just like these tube seals. If you're replacing them for the first time, you will discover that they are quite let's say quite sticky. They don't really want to get out. I got 3 of them out of there already, as you can see here. Once you start pushing from this side, this ring will come out, so you can get that out of the way. And it is going to be a bit dirty in here, so use this oil to make it go out easily. And from the other side, you will see that it's not too easy on you to get out of there. So you will have to use a plastic strip or whatever to try and work your way out of there. You don't want to use a metal screw, because that is going to put scratches on this surface here, which is going to cause leaks. And at the spark plugs, leaks, terrible thing. Now, this is how it comes out. Was going a lot easier than all the other 3, because I was putting a lot of WD-40 in a couple of minutes ago. So let that sit for a couple of minutes, and then it's quite easy. Now you see it's quite dirty in there. This is clean and this is not clean. So clean that before you put the new ones in, of course. And a lot of nasty shit is going to come out of there. Yeah. Now, getting the new ones in, you would just see these little like flat spots here. Those go around the round things here inside of as well. So just put them in like this. You will have to push them down. Make sure that they really align with the surface of the metal, because otherwise it won't be sealed properly. Yep, there you go. New seals are in place. Okay, now we will continue with the valve gasket. We just need to pull off the old one first, of course. This is a little helper here that you can just get it out of there easily, just like this. And of course we need to get rid of all the old sealing parts. We want to use the cloth again and the brake cleaner. And make sure you get all of the major spots where the old RTV sits out of the place, because yeah, you want to have a very nice and smooth surface for the gasket to sit in, of course. Okay, now the new gasket is going in just like the old one was coming out, of course. We have this little helper here, which was sitting somewhere here. So that's this spot. See these little pins here? They tell you where to exactly go with the gasket. That's kind of helpful. Really nice designed. Now I got it aligned with the rest. I'm just going to push everything in there. Now if you work on another engine, then it might be helpful to put some sticky spray that is meant for gaskets on there. I have no idea what the correct word for that is, but there is some sprays that help you make it stick into place. However, I don't think that we would need that here because it's nice and sticky just through all these pins here on the side. It's going to stay in place. It's not going to fall out once we flip it over to put it back on the car again. If I turn it over, let's make a quick test. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. So, gasket is in. Now, onto the last part before we put it back on. Now, before we put the new gasket, before we put the rocket cover back on again, we need to put some RTV onto the important parts or locations, which is here, 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 and here. Basically every part where the cover has to go up or go flat again, like every part where, yeah, we have something in the way of making it a flat cover. So I just use this here. That's the one I have. It just really doesn't matter. Just make sure it's meant for gaskets. You don't have to go crazy, just a bit. Now, looks kind of good. we just let it sit for a minute and then put the cover back on. Okay, now we want to put the new rocket cover on after letting the RTV sit for about a minute. So we are going to do that now. Slightly, is that the right way? Yeah. Just easily put it back on. The RTV is, like the name says, room temperature vulcanizing, so it is going to activate whenever you let it out of the tube. And now press it down a bit, and like this. And then we are going to take our new bolts and we're going to hand tighten them, not using any torque. And just hand tighten them. Don't use any torque, because we are going to let the RTV sit not completely tightened for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to use the right torque spec. So now we've let them sit for 10 minutes, so the RTV is sealed, and so now we can use torque to seal it properly. Thing is, it's very hard to find the right torque for the 1.4 Multiair somehow, even though it's in the Abarth 500 and in the Giulietta and so on. Somehow I just couldn't find any torque spec, so I'm using the torque spec for other Fiat engines, which is always around 8 to 9 Newton meters of torque. So 9 Newton meters of torque are going into these screws. And I'm going to start from the inside, those two and those two, and then work my way to the outside, because that's the way you seal a gasket properly. Okay. Okay, engine is warm. Now it's time for the engine cleaner. We will put that in to where the oil goes.
Perfect.
Now on with putting the microfilter in. That's finally the most interesting part about this video, probably for a lot of you guys. So we are going to get this one out of there. I'm gonna just put you guys here somewhere where you can see and I still have a lot of room. Okay, so that's a 10 and it goes right in. And the torque spec is going to be a bit difficult. So I am very excited on how it looks, because I have a new one and then we can compare. Oh, I can see some oil already, so I think I'm gonna get some cloth to collect that. Oh yeah, a lot of oil is coming out of there. So I think just changing that is easier when it's cold, when the engine is cold and the oil is all the way down into the pan. Let's put some of the... Come on. Now, you might be interested in how they look compared. So, this is the old filter. Oh, and there is quite a lot of stuff going on. If you take a look there, you might see, maybe in this camera. Hello. So, take a closer look there. There is a lot of stuff in there. So, and here, maybe that's it. After I was engine flushing, like cleaning it from the inside. There you go. That's how it looks in there. So you have to press it in first, and then you can start turning it in. Okay, the torque spec for that is 27 Newton meters, which is about like 250 inch-pounds, I think. Just go ahead and Google it, please, because I'm not sure, and I don't have a wrench, or no, I don't have a socket that looks like this, so I'm not able to torque it in the right spec. So please do that. Don't overturn it. It should make a nice, smooth surface together with the cylinder head.
Perfect.
Okay, guess we're done here. Everything seems to be fine. Car is ready and the engine check light is gone. So I assume that the filter did the trick. I don't know yet. We will go ahead and drive the car in another video and I will see that if the filter was the problem or not. Everything is fine, nothing is leaking. The gasket isn't leaking. The microfilter isn't leaking, not as far as I can see. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this. If you're interested in more videos on this car, like the radio, reverse cam, chip tuning, short shifting, and all sorts of stuff that I am planning to do on the car, like lowering it, new rims, anything like that, then just go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That would be really helpful for me, would really help push out more videos like that. And give this video a like, of course. That helps it make more people see this video. And yeah, I guess we are done. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next video.